All right now.
Patrick Mahomes is basically God playing quarterback.
Chiefs Kingdom
live.
They want it. They want it.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper. Go get it.
That's a different tier right there, baby.
Yeah, we're not having a snowball fight.
Three. No one's ever got three. I want that for back.
The Lombardi Trophy is a red and gold reflection. Touchdown! Kansas City! One of the greatest duos in the history of the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce. Let's go! Do it live! You gotta fight for your right to fight!
It'll get handled when it gets handled.
Let's go!
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, real quick, if you wouldn't mind, before you forget, make sure you click and tap that like and click and tap that subscribe. Help spread the word. Tell some friends. Tell some family members. Tell some Chiefs fans. We'd sure appreciate it. We actually got to our first live stream video that had over 1,000 views. Can't thank everybody enough. Whatever you've been doing, it's working. Send the link. Tell people, do whatever you've been doing. That was really cool. So we just wanted to thank everybody for that milestone. We just got wins everywhere in Chiefs Kingdom, man. Like, it's just they're stacking up.
And another one.
Chiefs are 8-0. They take down Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Arrowhead Stadium, prime time under the lights. I mean, they're in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. I mean, it's just wins. We're going to take it. We're going to enjoy it while it lasts. Before we get into the show and talk about the game against Tampa Bay and the game coming up against the Denver Donkeys at Arrowhead on Sunday, how are you doing tonight, everybody in the chat? Nick, how are you doing?
You know, I am doing fantastic. My brother just was like at 3 o'clock on Monday, hey, I haven't sold my Chiefs tickets. Do you want to go to watch the Chiefs play Monday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I was like, yeah, I do. So we sat out in the it was a weird rain. It was like a mist rain. We don't get that kind of rain in this area a whole lot, but yeah, dude, I'm doing great. It's been a good week.
Bo, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Really jealous you guys got to go to that game, but I had just as good a time hanging out with Big Doug and Laney there. I went over to their house and had some dinner with them. Got to introduce Big Doug to some blackberry whiskey, and then we dove into a bottle pretty deep. We didn't finish it.
I'm sure Laney was really thrilled about that one.
She might have tried it. She didn't have like a glass or anything, but she had to taste it after the curiosity of us going, man, this is amazing. But no, great, doing great, man. Dodged all the tornadoes here in Oklahoma, survived, we're good. Picked up a stray from the storm, so dealing with another dog in the house right now, but no, that's good. 8-0, baby. Nothing to complain about.
Right. No, yeah, doing real well. Yeah, had somebody back up on buying the tickets. So that just happens sometimes. You know, people say they're going to go and then they don't. So Nick and I went out and sat in the CKL seats. I don't think I've ever sat in the rain for that long and like didn't get wet. It was super weird. Nick looks over at me. He's like, "How are you not wet at all?" I was like, "I have no idea, but I'm not going to complain."
I run on
like a force field around him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if maybe it was just the way it was swirling or the way the people were standing around me, but I was not getting wet at all. I mean, it was a, I don't know if I'd call it a drizzle, a swirling mist, I think, Nick. Is that the best way to describe the weather at Arrowhead? Not cold at all, though.
Yeah, it's almost like what you imagine the rain's like in like the Pacific Northwest, you know, with like just kind of that mist. It's like the mist setting on a hose. I mean, but yeah,
look up there, you get soaked, man. You don't stay dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody in the chat here. Our man Brian, One Man Show. I know I saw Maria and Big Doug and Laney. I want to say I saw Brenda in there too.
Nice.
Looks like maybe Brian's having a hard time hearing Bo. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he adjusted his stuff.
Dude, right where I grab my mic to move it, it has all these controls on it, and I just always just mute it or turn it down. Oh, yeah, probably.
Poor design.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Could you turn it down a smidgen, or maybe 3/4 of a smidgen?
Just like 2 decibels at a time, right here.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Let's just get into this game. Chiefs win. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go to 8-0 on the season, the last undefeated team in the National Football League. Another nail biter that was 30-24 final score.
Man.
Overtime and prime time on Monday Night Football. It was a back and forth affair. Chiefs, I mean, they played pretty good on offense. The defense left a little bit to be desired, but we'll kind of break down their performances more and who really stood out. Overall thoughts, Nick, on the game before we kind of get into detail. I mean, I know how you felt watching the game because I was sitting next to you, but why don't you tell the viewing audience at home how you were feeling during that one?
Tell me. I want to know too.
I do have one overarching thing that I thought of after the game, and that like when teams are sitting there and they're like, should we go for it on 4th down? Should we go for the 2-point conversion? Should we do this against the Chiefs? Like they're in like, you're like, no, that's the Chiefs of old. They're going to point to that game and they're going to go, the Buccaneers didn't go for fucking 2 points at the end of the game. And then they lost. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, look, I felt like we matched up evenly. The defense struggled a little bit more than I anticipated against the Buccaneers. Kudos to them. They were able to find some holes in that pass defense. And they didn't do a terrible job running the ball either. But really, I think the offensive performance was really good. Running performance really good. Patrick Mahomes, I think, had a hell of a game. So I think all in all, it was a solid performance from the team. Couple of mistakes away from a blowout.
Bo, how are you feeling? Were you getting nervous at all? Did you feel good most of the game? Were you up and down?
Nervous wasn't like the right word to use for that game. It was just more like aggravated. It's like, oh, come on. Like, why can't we just do this, right? When we had the chance to go up, we didn't. And then we just, kind of shot ourselves in the foot like usual, let them hang around. Mm-hmm. As you were saying, Nick, like I was surprised that the defense let them hang in there as much as they did. And man, like for where our strengths were on defense, they really attacked that. They really ran on us, and then they really used their tight ends well. And they have a really good offense. And hey, better late than never. I would say that was probably the defense's worst performance, but they came around. The second half, we'll get into it, but I feel like they came around. I feel like they did all right. I agree with Nick. Patrick Mahomes, as always, puts the game on his back and does Mahomes magical things. Just so fun to watch. But then I was thinking about this. I was like, what was my takeaway from this game? And I was like, I don't know who's better right now. Is it D-Hop or is it Hunt or is it Kelsey? And then I'm like, wow, we have a really good team right now, man. Like thinking about those guys on our so. Yeah, just thrilled right now with where we're at. I feel like we're like a real threat finally with these guys, and kind of finally saw the offense clicking a little bit. Scored 30 for once this season, so hey, only up from here, I feel like.
Right. Yeah, I felt comfortable most of the game. The obvious step out by Xavier Worthy cost us 7, and then the fumble there right before the half cost us another 3. 10-point cushion would have made it a lot more comfortable feeling in the second half, but yeah, I mean, I felt good. The Chiefs looked like the better team. I don't know if I would say the far better team, but they looked like the better team. It took a last-ditch drive by Tampa Bay to tie it there at the end and really make it interesting. The Chiefs were leading most of the contest. So it was good to see the offense kind of pick the defense up, right?
Yeah,
defense has been carrying them most of the year, and rightfully so. They're the best defense in the National Football League, in my opinion. I think most people here in the chat and on this screen here and in the national media would probably agree with that statement. But it was nice to see the defense when they weren't necessarily at their best, to see the offense pick up the slack and say, hey, we got this one. You know, we're going to go out there and we're going to score touchdowns. Awesome in the red zone. So let's just start with the offense. I feel like we've been starting with the defense all year for the very fact that they've kind of carried this team to the first 7 wins. This one here was definitely more on the offense. Nick called D-Hop player of the game to watch last week's episode. The guy comes in, 8 catches for 86 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Didn't quite hit that 100-yard mark. There was a miscommunication on one of the plays, and I think they might have got there, but
yeah. Doesn't appear that D-Hop is washed after all. Many folks would have led you to believe that when the trade was made. The Kansas City Chiefs get I don't know if I'm going to call him an all-pro like this year, but a former all-pro wide receiver 1 for a 5th-round draft pick, possibly a 4th if you make the Super Bowl. Nick, D-Hop, you called it. What did you see out of him, and can the Chiefs kind of expect maybe that from him the rest of the year?
Well, shit, I hope so. But yeah, look, I think that it just kind of sums it up in that 3rd down play where you see Mahomes step up into the pocket. He gets hit while he's throwing the ball. The ball kind of floats, and there's 3 defenders right there, right around D-Hop. And the initial thought, that play happened right in front of our seats there. And the initial thought is like, that might be intercepted. And then it's like, well, he definitely didn't catch it. And then he gets up and he caught the freaking ball, man. Like, and it was just, it was an incredible play by both Mahomes and Hopkins there. And I think that's just, we have some good players, and we've had some good, receivers. And we have Travis Kelce, but from a wideout position, I don't know that we've had anybody with that sort of ability since Tyreek Hill left, a few seasons ago. And so I just really think that that just opens up a lot of things. You can see that Mahomes has to trust him right away. The touchdown again, I think it was his 2nd touchdown where, just juke the guy, cut inside, boom, easy 6. We just really haven't had that type of threat on offense, I think, for a couple of seasons now. And this is only the 2nd game, right? So it's just really exciting to see where it's going to take off from here.
Yeah, he's slid right in and is fitting seamlessly into the offense. We talked last week about how encouraging it was to hear Patrick say it reminded him of Travis, the way he has a feel for the game and a knack for finding the open spots and being on the same page as Patrick, the quarterback there. D-Hop he's been looking forward and wanting this for a while now, right? He's been very complimentary and praised Mahomes a lot on social media before coming to the team the last 2 or 3 years. Now that he's here, he looks hungry, man. He looks like he's still got it. Bo, a 5th-round pick for D-Hop. He comes in, instant wide receiver 1 production. How exciting is that for Chiefs Kingdom, man?
Dude, on his 2nd touchdown, I thought, like, dude, he already has more touchdowns than Sky Moore already. Like, wow, dude. Like, immediately affected,
Sky Moore's catching strays already over here. That's funny.
Nick put it so perfect. Like, we haven't had this threat in a while, like a true wide receiver threat, man. And you just immediately see the impact he has, right? I think 5 of his 8 catches, were for a critical 1st down, too. Like, that's something that people aren't talking about too much. They're more talking about that amazing play that Nick mentioned, but he just brings that reliability. He had 9 targets, 8 receptions, right? The one miss was just like, they're not going to miss. They're not going to not connect next week on that play.
Right.
They're going to polish that up. They're going to work on that in practice, and they'll be right on page. And oh man, he just brings that reliability that we've been missing a little bit, right? That sure-handedness. We've had a lot of guys who, I mean, they're good, but they just, in clutch moments, they seem to either like tip the ball or just not make the catch and stuff. And you just don't get that feeling with D-Hop whatsoever. A true veteran. And yeah, 5th round, like, the league's got to hate us. We have Kareem Hunt and D-Hop on our team for literally like peanuts right now. This is amazing. I love what Veach and these guys are doing in the office, man. Like, can't give enough credit to those guys.
Yeah, Veach has been cooking here this year. We'll talk about Kareem Hunt having another big game and really stepping up and coming in clutch for this Kansas City Chiefs team. Looks like Dylan's in the chat checking in. Good to see you, Dylan.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you're doing well. The sure-handedness, a guy on the roster that you know is going to catch the ball when you throw it to him. It's got to take some of the pressure and off of Patrick Mahomes and ease his frustrations a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
We saw it bubbling up a little bit last year with all the drops and the tips for interceptions. Patrick on the sideline, it kind of had a few times there where it kind of like steam shooting out of the ears, right? He's never a guy that's going to throw someone under the bus, but the frustration wasn't there. And he had mentioned it. Maybe it wasn't as fun playing offense last year as it was before. This year, not quite as bad, but you mentioned Sky Moore had some drops. They lose Rashee Rice for the season to injury. So I just love that the catching the ball and the confidence from the quarterback and taking some of the pressure off of him. Maybe he's enjoying playing a little bit more. You get a guy with the skill set of a DeAndre Hopkins added to the team mid-season. I think, too, you've seen it the last 2 weeks, Travis Kelce's come alive, right? Teams can't just sit there and blanket Travis Kelce. So,
right.
I mean, he's taking the pressure off Mahomes. He's drawing some coverage and making some room for Kelce to come back out, who, don't look now, is on pace for 1,000 yards basically on the season again.
After not catching a ball for like the first 3 games, right? Just like, oh, yeah, he's
so washed,
TMFK. Huh? That's why.
Yeah. Also, not on Team Washed is Travis Kelce. So we'll talk about him in just a second.
Dude, how sorry to interrupt. How great do you think DeAndre Hopkins feels like coming onto this team, right? Because like normally when a team he's been, a couple teams now. He's going to that team's like, we got him. We're better now, right? Like, I mean, we have that sentiment too, but like it's not like we're relying on him, right? He's coming onto a team with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, like the stars already. So there's got to be a little bit of relief off of his shoulders, just coming onto a team and him not having to immediately be the guy to change everything. But I mean, he kind of is already, so it's awesome.
Yeah, you could see he had that look in his eye and that tone in his voice in the post-game interview. You could just tell he's really happy to be here.
Like he had
he's
some fun
determined.
finally.
He's determined to come in and help the team win and achieve their goals. It's a guy that's never played in a Super Bowl in his career. And when you look at the stats and the numbers that guy's put up and the production he's had in his career, he's one of the more deserving guys, right? That you say that's never been to the Super Bowl or won one for that matter. I really saw it in the post-game interview. A guy that's not just happy and excited to be here, but a guy that's hungry. Nick, you go from the Titans to the Kansas City Chiefs. Not just a contender, but a place where you've had your eye on. I mean, he's had his eye on the Chiefs before. Went to the Titans, maybe chose money. Wonder if maybe there was a little bit of disappointment or regret in that decision watching the Chiefs last year go win another Super Bowl. How do you think D-Hop's feeling, man?
Did you see his interview after the game?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, he was almost tearful just talking about, man, I waited to play and win a game like this in a stadium like this. And, it's a big Monday night football game to Chiefs fans. Like we're like, it's a Monday night game. It's cool. It's week 9. Against not a major conference opponent, but you saw it in his eyes and it heard it in his voice. You've seen what he's been posting on social media. He felt a little disrespected, I think. People saying that he was washed. I don't know if he felt disrespected by, a conditional 5th round draft pick for him. Like, it's like, just take the guy off of our team. We'll even pay part of his salary. But, all that stuff is culminating into some good stuff for the Chiefs. So I'm pretty excited about it. And
take it.
Look, I just think that we've all, I don't know, I've worked for bad companies before, right? I've been in bad situations. And then when you like you go and you work for like somebody that is like good at what they do and they treat you well and they treat you like a good human being and like they're like ethical and stuff, you're just like, it just makes your life so much better, right? And so on top of that, now you're also winning. You're going from the Titans and, you know, catching the ball from Will Levis, and that now you're, you know, 8-0 in with Patrick Mahomes, right? Travis Kelce, the dudes you've been watching play in the Super Bowl the last 2 years. You're on the same team as them. I mean, it's just got to be just like a total kind of a mind fuck, really. I mean, you know, to go from the, you know, that like rags to riches, right? I mean, you know, metaphorically, not monetarily, because he's making a ton of money, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, and come in and be as productive as he is. He's immediately loved by the city too. So
Yeah.
I bet you he's not having a bad time these past couple of weeks at all.
Yeah.
I tried to get
Looking
a D-Hop chant going, but it didn't pick up.
Yeah,
So
he was looking good in that number 8 jersey too. I'm gonna might have to pick me up one of the number
Looks good
8
in 8.
D-Hop
Yeah,
jerseys.
I agree.
Our man Chief Bloodygrass checking in here. Good to see you. Thanks for watching, stepping in. Hope you're doing well, man. The other thing too, this is getting a little bit, maybe I don't know if it's off Chiefs topic, but watching D-Hop come in and look like the old Houston Texans version of D-Hop and his prime almost, you're thinking, how's a rookie quarterback like Will Levis coming in and not just peppering that dude and throwing the ball to him all
Every
the time,
time.
bro? What are you doing?
Every time.
To not use him is just it's kind of been boggling my mind here. Kind of like, how was Kareem Hunt sitting at home on the couch? Like, no one could use that.
Completely.
Hey, you know what though? We'll pick up where other people are slipping, right? I mean, that's kind of the name of the game. Great addition. Looking forward to seeing what D-Hop can do the rest of the season. While we're on great in-season additions, Kareem Hunt paying more dividends. That signing guy comes in, has another touchdown, has another 100 yards. Really took over that game in the second half when the offense kind of started to sputter there going into the second quarter. They come out, pounded the rocks, softened up that defense, and the offense got back churning. Kareem Hunt, another solid performance from him. He's got
on cloud 9, right, with D-Hop, sitting at home watching the games on TV, and now you're on the Super Bowl favorite. Kareem Hunt, how happy are you with what he's provided? What did you see out of him that maybe you like the most?
Oh, dude, you know, it's just like everybody was kind of like giving him shit. He's not going to be the 2018 Kareem Hunt. He's not, right? He's not as flashy and explosive, but he just still has that grind. Mm-hmm. That I'm going to get 3-4 yards. I'm going to take every bit of it from you, and you're going to have to put every ounce of energy to stop me from getting it from you. Grind. And it just wears down that defense, and we really saw that go to work. I mean, we've seen it go to work now for like 3 weeks solid. Just we're talking about his load management. That's a little worrisome, right? Like, can you lean into him that hard? But when he's doing it and just fine, and like you see him in his post-game interviews with Mitch Holthus, and he's just like, yeah, keep feeding me. I love it. I'm great. I'm good to go. I'm like, yeah, keep giving it to him, right? Like that's what I love about him. He's just there. We've talked about his ability to find those extra yards, even if he gets contact at the line of scrimmage or behind it. He seems to find a way to get those extra couple yards. He just has that reliability that we kind of haven't seen from the running back. Well, I mean, we've had good running backs. I'm not trying to like diss our running back room, but the reliability to go in and get 2 or 3 yards, even if contact's going to be made at line of scrimmage, is just been so clutch. It really, we've joked about it so many times, but man, that 1st and 10 run up the middle it sure is different when you get 3 or 4 yards versus getting stopped at the line of scrimmage, and it just opens up the playbook completely. And so, just the sheer threat that he brings has just been amazing to watch. And so, yeah, he's just an awesome addition. I can't believe we got him. It just feels surreal. Our team right now, who we're talking about as players on our team, it's fascinating.
Yeah, Chief Bloodygrass bringing up Hunt, losing some weight, and look out maybe even more. Kareem Hunt looks a little thicker than he did his first go around with the Chiefs, but he's been on the team now here for a few weeks, so getting into that game shape. I heard earlier this week that Chiefs are anticipating a late November return for Isaiah Pacheco, which maybe is a little bit longer than we thought. So the Kareem Hunt signing, maybe even a little bit more important. Nick, Kareem Hunt, what's he bringing to this team right now, and where do you think he's helping maximize the offense?
Yeah, there's still a lot of season left, right? But if the Chiefs are able to, go far, three-peat, whatever in this season, we're going to look back at that Kareem Hunt signing, and I think we're going to say that's the decision, maybe D-Hop too, but that Kareem Hunt decision is what got us over that gap and saved the season, right? I think that signing, finding that guy that is not on any NFL roster, comes in, your offense is struggling, but he can consistently give you, even though it's mostly shorter yardage per attempt, he's giving you consistent gains. 3rd and 1 used to be the kryptonite and the crux of this offense, and we had to resort to gimmicks, and we had to resort to Patrick Mahomes having to make it all happen. It was 3rd and 1 from the 2-yard line in overtime, and Kareem Hunt called game. He was like, we don't need to do this again. He got in the end zone, right? Power running. It wasn't a gimmick play. It wasn't an outside. There was no misdirection. They're running power football with this guy, and he is consistently delivering for us. So, that's what I think he's bringing to the team, is just he's turning us into that power offense, which, as you guys said, just opens up so many other things now that we do have some elite pass catchers, that are performing on the team. So.
Yeah, I think where you're seeing the addition of Kareem Hunt help the Chiefs the most is that red zone offense.
Yeah.
They were down, kind of struggling there, and in the lower third or whatever of the NFL in red zone success, scoring touchdowns. Don't look now, but all of a sudden they're up there in the top 3 or 4 or 5 teams with red zone success. Kareem Hunt, he's scored 5 touchdowns in 5 games. Not only is he getting the ball in there when you get down there, like you mentioned, Nick, you get down at the 1 or the 2-yard line. If you can give it to him a couple times, more likely than not, he's going to punch it in and get you that 7. It's making defenses be more honest and guard the line of scrimmage there at the end zone. So you can see a guy like a D-Hop get open in the back of the end zone. So to me, that's really where I've been seeing the most impact on the Kareem Hunt signing. Is been down there. That's they call that. I mean, that's where the money's made in the NFL is red zone. You look at these teams that have the higher red zone percentages, and they've usually got the better records, touchdowns over field goals. We mentioned, I can't remember which one of you it was, when they signed him. What can we expect, or what are we hoping best case scenario out of Kareem Hunt is? And one of you guys said the guy's got a nose for the end zone, and he knows how to find that goal line and get in there. And we've seen that. I mean, 5 touchdowns, 5 games since coming to the team. No training camp, no preseason, right? Just gets thrusted in there, and he's finding pay dirt at least once a game for this team. Talked about Travis Kelce a minute ago. Let's talk about his career high performance. 14 catches, sets a new record, personal record for himself. There was stretches where he was running wide open again down the middle of the field.
Yeah.
A couple of nice plays there. I want to say the one play down there around midfield, he caught the ball, didn't have a defender within 4 or 5 yards of him. I think you're seeing some of that, the Kareem Hunt D-Hop effect, right?
Exactly.
Teams were blanketing him early, double, triple coverage. Rashee Rice was taking advantage of that the first few weeks, but then he gets hurt, and teams continue. They're not forced to really take the attention off of him. On pace for a little over 900 yards now. If he has another big game here coming up against Denver, which I kind of expect him to, because he shares ownership part-time. Like it's like people that they winter somewhere, right? They got their summer home and their winter home. The Raiders are his summer home, and the Broncos are his winter home. He lives there and owns that team when he's not out there dominating and owning the Raiders. Nick, Travis Kelce, obviously not washed. What are you seeing out of him, and is that something you think you can see now going forward the rest of the season?
Yeah, look, I think they're I've kind of said break glass, or take out a bubble wrap in case of emergency, and I think they did that earlier this season than they planned to. But yeah, there's definitely a knock-on effect to having another elite pass catcher out there that the defense has to worry about. Part of this is the Buccaneers pass defense was bottom 2, bottom 3 in the league, I think. So it's expected, but he still performed, right? He still performed against them. Did have the one fumble, which really cost us right there at the end of the first half. It's going to happen. If it is going to happen, it's best that it happens, on the front end of the game against non-conference opponent, right in the middle of the season. So forgivable sin there for old reliable number 87. But yeah, he's definitely coming alive. And I wonder if you see maybe if we can get a win against the Bills here in a couple of weeks, if we can build like a 4 game lead on them and the Ravens, like if you'll see maybe that workload dial back. I think they're really just trying to put themselves in a good position here to get this 1 seed and then see where they go from there. But yeah, I mean, I never thought the guy was washed. I just thought that they were, trying to, it's a long season, right? It's 17 games. I thought they were just trying to give him a pitch count and really save him for when we need him in the postseason, because that's when we really need prime Travis Kelce to show up.
Right. Bo, Travis Kelce's back on track, right?
Yeah, clearly not washed, right? No, I mean, you guys are both nailed it right on the head, man. Having D-Hop and Hunt perform as well as they are, make defenses bite in ways that you can't just put 2-3 guys on them, right? The people that are saying that Travis Kelce is washed, I just laugh, dude. That'd be like saying, right now, Chris Jones is washed. Do you watch what happens to him every play? 2-3 guys hold him, pretty much tackle him, hold him down. That's what he was experiencing every play, but, deeper in the backfield. And so it's just, yeah, finally get some breathing room. He's going to be TMFK. And you guys forgot the obvious stat. Taylor Swift was there, man. Of course he's got to perform in front of his girl, man. When she's there, he's gonna turn the lights on a little bit. So, no, yeah, just what a time. I mean, I agree with Nick. I don't think he was ever washed. I think he was just, they were trying to put too much on his shoulders, and teams knew that, and they were just double, triple covering him, and he just couldn't get open. And now defenses don't have that luxury anymore. They have to respect what Kareem Hunt can do. They have to respect what D-Hop can do. They have to respect what J Watt can do. Justin Watson coming through on some clutch catches for first down there, right? We have some sneaky guys in our toolbox there that we're using. And you can't bite as hard and just cover one guy anymore. So I think that's what we saw there. Plus the Buccaneers defenses all year have just, they've eaten so many yards to tight ends. And so that was kind of expected. I think I said that last week, just watch him kind of take advantage of that too. So I think we saw that too, but yeah, clearly not washed, and perfect time to be coming to form, right? Mid to later in the season, starting to come around, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, just how we all expected it to go mid-season. The Chiefs going 8-0 on the backs of Kareem Hunt and DeAndre Hopkins and Travis Kelce. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the performance of Patrick Mahomes in this game. Primetime Patrick shows up. Showtime. The guy, first game of the year without an interception.
The Reaper.
Now, a couple of those games obviously were tipped passes, weird kind of fluky interceptions, but he's got 300 yards, basically, 3 touchdowns. He's feeling in a groove already with DeAndre Hopkins, spreading the ball around. Bo, you mentioned J. Watt's catching passes. He's getting the ball to Noah Gray. He's getting the ball to Travis Kelce. He's getting the ball to DeAndre Hopkins. Had a touchdown pass to Samaje Perine that was kind of reminiscent of the Clyde Edwards-Helaire push pass touchdown against Tampa Bay a couple seasons ago. We thought maybe Patrick Mahomes was getting some things figured out and starting to get on a roll last week against the Raiders. Nick, Patrick Mahomes, he's looking pretty locked in right now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think at one point in the game, he was 11 for 11 on third down. And then in the overtime drive, he was 5 for 5. Yeah. You just can't. I mean, you obviously can't get better than that. And so whenever the pressure's on and the moment's the biggest is whenever he shines the brightest. And he, anybody can make a great play, right? But the great ones can make great plays consistently. And I Brady had that about him too. But I don't know that I've ever seen anybody that I've watched that consistently performs at that level when it's needed time and time again without fail. Right. And so, he completed over 70% of his passes. It was a great game. It was a great game from Patrick. It was good to see it happen. Obviously he's not washed either. Right. I mean, kind of that was another one of the narratives that you see on the internet is that he's not good anymore. He's a defense merchant. Now that Travis Kelce was having a down year, now he's back on pace for 1,000 yards. It was like, well, he was a Kelce merchant. Now, that Kelce's washed, like he can't do anything. And it's really good to see just these narratives crumble and people continue to grasp for straws to try to explain how the Chiefs are 8-0 because they can't admit that they're just, that good.
All right. Bo, what did you see out of Patrick Mahomes you liked against the Buccaneers?
I mean, what didn't I see that I didn't like? I mean,
that's a question, I guess.
That'd
be the better question.
My criticism is never like with him, really, man. It's like it's either the guy's either like not learning the routes right, like not be on the same page with him. Right now, my biggest frustration is the O-line to me. Like, guys, come on, let's get him some protection. I mean, he just kind of looks like he's scrambling, but to his credit, that's kind of his strength, dude. When he gets outside the pocket, starts moving, defenses get flat-footed, and he knows how to take advantage of that better than anybody in the league. And he does, man. You're talking about that little flip to Pirine, man. Like that's just one of those things. He's been doing it all year, right? Where he's running and he's pretending he's going to throw it, right? So defense is like, oh, he's not going to throw, he's going to run this time. And what does he do? Just whoop right over the defense. And that play was so scary, though, man. When he went down, I think I texted you guys just like, oh no, man. Just like, what's it? You guys are there, don't get to see replays or anything. What's going on? And it was like, yeah, dude, non-contact. I have no idea. This is nuts. And he's hobbling over the sidelines and. Hey, they're not saying much on TV, and you guys get to see him warm up before I do. And you finally text me, and you're just like, oh, God. And then he just goes back on the field and throws that play to D-Hop down the field and then scores 3 plays later. I mean, what can't you like about the guy? He's able to put every game on his shoulders when it matters. He plays hurt. He's just tough as nails, dude. I mean, can't ask for a better guy than that. I mean, there's a reason he's QB1 in all of NFL for sure.
Yeah, that was a scary incident there, Bo, you mentioned where he kind of rolled the ankle and went down. There's a lot of confusion in the stadium because he didn't get hit. And obviously when he lets go of the ball, everybody's watching Pirine and then cheering and high-fiving because of the score. So a lot of people were like, are they calling that back? Like, what's everybody huddled up for? Is there a penalty or something? Like guys will huddle around the referee. And then it became pretty obvious that he was laying on the ground. And he had the hands on the helmet, and the body language did not look good.
No, dude, his face was so serious.
But the guy, he goes into the blue tent and then 10 seconds later is doing sprints up and down the sideline intentionally, letting the crowd and the opponent know, I'm good. You ain't getting off the hook. I'm not letting you off that easy. I'm not tapping myself out of this game. So, the guy's been locked in for a couple weeks now. And even the few games before that, he's a couple of dropped passes and tipped passes away from having even maybe a couple less interceptions and a couple more touchdowns. So I expect you'll see him. He's already kind of in that MVP discussion just because of the team's record and the success they're having. But a few more performances like he's had here the last couple of weeks, 2-3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 300 yards. He's going to be back up there and probably be the lead horse in that MVP race come the end of the season. You mentioned the O-line. It is a little bit disappointing. The left tackle and not so much the right tackle as the left tackle. But both tackles are struggling a bit right now. You see the team go and spend the money and the resources and the draft capital on the interior of the line. And then I don't want to say neglect because they've drafted left tackles the last few years to kind of whiff on that position. They've got a solid interior line, but the tackles, I don't know. Chief Bloodygrass says maybe some guys sitting at home would be better. I don't know about that. I don't know if those guys are playing that poorly, but need to figure out a way to give Patrick Mahomes a little bit more time, especially if this ankle thing is going to linger a little bit. He mentioned in the post-game thing that, maybe the injury helps me out a little bit because I'm not as flighty and I'm not as quick to take off there in the pocket and maybe I keep a little bit more of my pocket discipline. So would love to see the tackle position get better. Trade deadline is come and gone. I don't know if there's anybody out there that's just available or is going to get released, but we'll keep our eyes open.
Were you guys surprised that Veach didn't take anybody else? I was kind of assuming he would take somebody in the tackle position since we're talking about it, but a lot of people are bringing up like another DB or something like that. Were you guys?
I mean, they were in on the Marshawn Lattimore sweepstakes and that discussion, but the Commanders, they just raised the price too high on Lattimore. Cornerback, tackle, especially left tackle, those are some of the more premier positions in an NFL franchise. So not that wide receiver is not right, but D-Hop's 32 years old. He was not going to be under contract next year. So the Titans were just trying to get whatever they could out of that guy. It's a little bit of a unique situation. I thought maybe they would get some more. I think they tried, though. I don't think it was through lack of effort. Nick, were you surprised, disappointed? What's your reaction to them not adding anybody else there at the deadline?
Yeah, look, you would have liked to see. I would have preferred if we could have got a cornerback. A left tackle be great, but that's a premier position. I mean, cornerback is too, but you're just not. I didn't expect it to happen for either of those for that reason, right? I didn't really expect them to do what they did. Getting D-Hop and Joshua Uche either. So I think that
fair.
With the cap situation being what it is with the Chiefs, and understanding that with Mahomes' contract and some of their other contracts with Chris Jones and guys that they want to pay coming up, that they were able to maintain their draft capital and get 2 quality additions right before the deadline. I think it's a master class in being a GM, right? Especially when you're a team, nobody wants to trade with you. You just won back-to-back Super Bowls, right? Like you have some injuries, but you're in the position for the 1 seed. So I would have loved it, obviously, but I didn't think that they were gonna have any more big trades in the tank for the season, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're gonna have to kind of stand pat, no pun intended, where they're at right now, unless something gets released. I don't know that there's any free agent or practice squad guys out there that if you really, really wanted or thought were worth bringing in and making a move on, that you wouldn't have done that by now. So they're just going to have to adjust around it.
We suffered a lot of injuries early. Do you think that it was maybe because we're maybe getting healthy, bringing guys back onto the squad that were on IR or on the practice squad or whatever?
Yeah, I mean they're going to be getting healthier and getting some guys back. So Isaiah Pacheco,
Minihew's slated to come back here. He's saying a late November return too.
Yeah, I know he's chomping at the bit. You can tell from his social media posts. He wants to get out there and play football, which is good. You want to see hungry, motivated players on your team. That's the kind of attitude and the mindset you want to see guys have. Speaking of the defense, they didn't have their best performance, but look, they did kind of what they do, just maybe not as dominant. The Tampa Bay running game, they found a little bit more room to run than most teams the Chiefs defense has faced this year, but not a lot more. I want to say their top 2 backs maybe had 6 or 7 carries, right in there, maybe like 3 or 4 yards a carry. Where they really made their hay was in the pass game. I think Cade Otton caught 2 more passes while we were doing this show here somehow. That guy just seemed to be open on every other play. I was
losing his mind during the game, dude.
People at Arrowhead probably irritated with me bitching about how often Cade Otton was open.
Well, that was every play then. So,
Right, yeah. Bo, defense, overall thoughts on how they played? Maybe you give them a grade, A, B, C, D?
Ooh, man, that would be rough, right? I'd have to be a little strict. Probably give them a C+, B- somewhere in there, right? They struggled. There's no beating around the bush on that one. It was not their best performance. But, when you needed them to, they stepped up and made some plays, right? There were some obvious mistakes that were made, and we can get past those. But on 4 of their times out there, 4 of their drives, they started on their 40-something, right? Like bad return on special teams, a turnover, and all that stuff. So I mean,
bad punt.
in those drives that they started, that I think they only allowed 10 points. So I mean, like you gotta take your wins where you can get them. I mean, like obviously we would love to stop them every time, maybe field goals only, but hey, it is what it is. Tampa Bay's got a hell of an offense, man. Baker had himself a hell of a night, man. They were his time to throw was so insane. I think it was like 2 seconds or like right under that 2 second mark, like 1.9 or something that game. It was insanely quick, right? So like not a lot you can do on defense. You can't really get a pass rush when you have a second and a half to get there. And so C plus, B minus. They found it in the end when it needed to. Got a couple big stops. Prevented some huge first downs from being made and forced them to punt the ball back to us where we were able to take advantage of it. So yeah, not their best performance, but I'd say B minus more so than anything.
Yeah. The tight end position's been the defense's Achilles heel all season. Cade Otton is emerging as maybe one of the better tight ends in the league. They're also targeting him a ton with Mike Evans and Godwin being out right now. Baker Mayfield, he's an above-average NFL quarterback.
Sure.
The guy has found himself in a good situation there in Tampa Bay. It's looking like he's jiving, right, and gelling with that team and the offensive coordinator and that system that he's running. I mean, I don't know if I'm not going to call myself a Baker Mayfield fan, but the guy can ball and he can make plays and he's got a good sense of humor, right? Someone mentioned the meme of him when they went to overtime and he lost a coin toss and he put his head back and he was like, shit. So I'm probably right in there with you, Bo. I'm probably going to give him a C plus. Average performance, definitely not deficient or a failure, but I definitely don't think that anybody on that defense would say that they played up to their level of they expect of themselves or where they're capable of playing. It was really that last drive where they gave up the touchdown to tie and force the overtime was really, I don't know if that was play calling. I don't know if that was the players. Nick and I were talking about during the game. It was like they were playing prevent, letting them get 10, 12, 15-yard chunks on every play. And it's like, guys, there's 2 minutes left. Like they have plenty of time at that rate to get down there and get the end zone. Protecting against getting beat deep. Well, if you get beat deep, that just gives Patrick and the offense more time to go out there and try and get in field goal range, right? If they were to go for 2, they didn't. We'll discuss that decision here in a second. But Nick,
I'll say it for you, Big Doug. Prevent defense only prevents you from winning.
That's true. That is true a lot of the times. Nick, overall thoughts on how the defense played, maybe what grade you would give them?
Yeah, I mean, I would give them a B, maybe a B minus. As Bo said, they special teams and also the offense on the turnover, really gave them some bad field positions to start. They had a drive that resulted in a touchdown where they really had kind of stopped the drive, and there was a holding call. So it doesn't necessarily, mean it's okay just to give up the touchdown. But they did get the stop on third down, phantom call, extended it. The Bucs get paid too, right? So they put a drive together. When the Chiefs were down 4 points, I think it was in the second quarter, the Buccaneers had the ball on the Chiefs side of the field, right? And a touchdown there, you kind of feel like a 2-score game, the way that things were going, would have put the Chiefs in a really bad spot. Even at that point in the game, they hold the Buccaneers to a field goal, so it's only a 7-point lead. And then, that allows the Chiefs to kind of climb back in. The Chiefs get the lead. I think, it's prevent, and I think it's also they were tired at the end of the game, right? I think it was a long game. And, because of that, we probably got fortunate that we won the coin toss, but there's been one time where they've given up the touchdown. I was surprised that they didn't go for 2. I was even more surprised to hear that the coach said it was because of the field conditions and it being wet. It seems to me that like the field conditions on a 2-yard play probably are like just as impactful as like on a 35-yard field goal. But
yeah, right.
But maybe they were sitting there thinking like there's plenty of time for the Chiefs to kick a field goal, and I mean if we're up 1 point, that gives them maybe an extra down or a little bit more motivation because they know they've got to get it. So they'll be more aggressive. I don't know. The Chiefs won, so I'm going to give them a B or B minus. I think that overall they put together a good effort against one of the top scoring offenses in the league. I know that they're missing a couple of players, but I think Mayfield is a great player. I mean, not like all-time great, but I think he's a really, really solid starter. I think that he's bounced around and he's proven himself in this league, having so many different coaches and systems and offensive coordinators and teams, and he's performed in all of them. He took the Browns from, they went like 1-31 over 2 years before he came there, and he took the divisional round in the playoffs, right? So they weren't up against just like some tomato can or palooka, right? Like they had a real offense that they were going up against. They held them to 24 points, under 300 yards passing. I think that's a solid B.
Yeah, and look, the defense, we're giving them a hard time about the game-tying touchdown drive they gave up. They got a 3-and-out just right before that, and the offense got the ball and lost 2 yards and punted and didn't even make the Buccaneers use all their timeouts. Right. That was atrocious.
One of the worst series you're going to see from this team, right? I mean, like from the offensive plays, then to the special teams, it just wasn't even a good punt. So.
Yeah, a bad punt. Pirine drops the ball. I believe that was Pirine that dropped the screen on 3rd down, where they were trying to at least make Tampa Bay use their last time out. But to just run it there and get -1 and -1 or -2 and 0, whatever it was, and then have the drop, put the defense in a bad spot after they got a 3-and-out at the end of the game and gave the offense a chance to seal it away. And if that happens, we're looking at 17 points given up, and the defense another sub-20 total points allowed game. So maybe being a little bit too harsh on them. They did get stops and critical points and allowed the Chiefs to gain the lead. And like I said, got that stop, and the offense didn't do them any favors by turning and giving the ball right back to the Buccaneers. Bo, mistake for the Buccaneers not to go for 2?
I don't know. First, I got to say, well, I was going to say that. Never mind. No, man. I don't think so. I feel like regardless, it doesn't put the game away. You're giving Patrick Mahomes the ball back with time and timeouts, and so like I think it was a good idea. I mean, the way that they had played all game, they had made some stops, right? I mean, yeah, there's the overwhelming arching theme, like you're about to give the ball to Patrick Mahomes in overtime, or there's that chance, right? But there's also the chance that you could win that coin toss and you get the ball and you can take it down and do the same thing, right? And then the way they were playing, it's one of those things, man. You just those decisions that we've put teams in that they have to just be right, and they weren't. And who knows if they do go for 2 and make it, if that guarantees them a win. It gives them like what, 27 seconds left, there's 20 something in the 20s left with timeouts,
right?
Yeah,
that's also Patrick Mahomes' bread and butter. So I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. I think Mahomes is now 8-2 in overtime victories, right? And the 2 that he lost were to Tom Brady and Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship game, right? So I mean, the dude, pick your poison. I feel like the safer bet was to just tie and go into overtime and leave it up to a coin toss.
Yeah, I think they lose no matter what they do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And there's always the option that you don't get it. Nick, you mentioned the coach brought up the weather. Maybe you don't like your team's odds of getting a push there on the line with the slippery footing. Maybe you have an issue with the running back slipping. You try to throw a pass. We saw McCole Hardman slip and mess up the timing on a play against the 49ers a few weeks ago at the goal line. You go for 2 and you don't get it, and the game's definitely over at that point. So I don't know that it was as big of a folly as everybody made it out to be, but I think everybody in the stadium was happy. And I think the Chiefs coaching staff was happy that they didn't go for 2 and try to apply the pressure there. So anytime you're doing what your opponent wants you to do, it is probably the wrong decision. But again, it's getting back to that, if the 49ers, I'm trying to think of the wide receiver's name in the Super Bowl that got overthrown at the end of the game. If he catches that touchdown, then the 49ers win that Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes still had timeouts and almost a minute left at the end of that Super Bowl, the first one against the 49ers. So it's not like even if they get the 2, like Nick mentioned, it's a guaranteed win. The Chiefs got 30 seconds getting field goal range. That's the Bills if that's enough time for the Chiefs to go down and get in field goal range at the end
but
of the
Scott,
game.
it's a different game if something different were to happen in the game, man.
True, I get it. I understand. I'm with you.
I just love that logic, though. Like, of course it would be.
Right, yeah, for sure. So, Chiefs, pretty good performance, solid on offense, fairly solid on defense. They win and move to 8-0. They've got the Denver Broncos coming to town, round 1 against the division rival. Sunday noon game. Those are exceedingly rare nowadays in Chiefs Kingdom. Bo, how are you feeling about this game against the Denver Broncos? You worried? You feeling pretty confident? What do you think?
Feeling a lot better about this game after this past week, right? It depends on which Broncos team we're going to get. We're going to get Week 9 Broncos or the Broncos before that, because those are 2 different teams, man. I was looking at some of their past games. Other than like Week 1, they had only had 15 points scored on them all season before this past week, and it was just like, who is this defense? Bo Nix, he's having his rookie blunders, but I mean, I think he's doing pretty good for that system, man. He can get one in on you with his feet if he wants to. He not the most accurate pass thrower, but he's been making some throws when he needs to. He's got some weapons. He's got Sutton and can't think of their other guy, Thomas.
If you can't think of them, they're probably not that good.
Well, I mean, the Broncos aren't that good, so yeah. No, I'm trying my best here. I'm trying to give them accolades before we just rip them apart here, because no, dude, the Chiefs just own the Broncos. I'm not too worried about this game at all. Yeah. I was worried about their defense, but then we just saw the Ravens put 41 up on them. So I mean, it looks like a drastically different game. I don't know. I'm always a little nervous about divisional games, right? There's always they always play us tough. The Broncos got us last year once, but I mean, our record against them right now is 16-1 in the past 17 games. Yeah. So I think we got their number a little bit. Got to give Sean Payton a little credit for what he's doing. Got Russ Wilson out of there, and he's kind of turning that team around a little bit. They're formidable. A lot of people are actually kind of picking them to make the playoffs, maybe even go over the Chargers. So. I'm not too worried, but I don't want the Chiefs to overlook this by any means by looking into next week at the Bills or anything. I don't want this to be a trap game for them, and I don't think it will be. I'm sure they take divisional games super serious, especially when they're kind of this close to almost clinching the division in Week 9. So, me personally, no, not too worried about it, but a little cautious to say the least.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like the Broncos' schedule it has more to do with their somewhat surprising win-loss record than the team itself and how good they are or aren't. I did not expect them to be a playoff team going into the season. I still don't expect them to make the playoffs. You look at how they're winning with defense and the opponents they played, not really top-tier offenses or quarterbacks by any stretch of the imagination. And they go up against a contender in the AFC for the first time maybe this year and get rolled hard by the Baltimore Ravens. So, Bo Nix, he's okay, but I'm knowing that strikes fear in your heart, especially not with the way the Chiefs defense has played this year. So, I'm feeling real comfortable. The game's at home. The Chiefs are got to be looking at that 8-0, wanting to get to 9-0. It'll be the first time since 2003. The Chiefs starting 9-0.
No, 2011 maybe. Alex Smith's first year they went 9-0.
Wasn't it Andy Reid's first year they went?
Yeah.
I was thinking they got to 8 maybe that year, but
it'll match the franchise best, right? They've never gone 10-0, so
right. That's got to be on the line there. They're looking at that. The first goal they always state every year is first goal of the year, win the division. They could be sitting with a pretty lead over the division and 2 wins in their pocket already. Nick, how do you feel about the game against the Broncos?
Yeah. We struggle against the Broncos defense, right? And so I think that I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I know that the Ravens just, trounced them. All the more reason that they're going to be looking to regroup, I guess. They know, like you said, they know the Chiefs. So I think, I don't think we're going to put up in the 30s on them. But we're also going up against a rookie quarterback with not a lot of weapons who you can make look average and force into some bad throws, right? So if we can get the pressure that we need, once you have Chris Jones coming at you, it's easy to make bad decisions. And so I think that they're gonna win the game. I hope it's more closer to the Raiders game where towards the end there I think maybe we're up a couple of scores and they may make a push or something, but I think for the most part once we get towards the fourth quarter we're gonna feel pretty comfortable about where we're at in the game. So I could be wrong, right? I've been wrong before. They could be overlooking this game, thinking about the Bills game the next week, right? That's kind of like that definition of a trap game. But I also think that they remember that loss to the Broncos last year, and they're looking to right that wrong from last year and start a new streak, man. So I'm feeling pretty confident about this one.
Yeah, the Broncos, they're I don't know. They've still got a winning record, right? Or are they, where are they at right now? Are they 5 and?
I want to say they're 5-3, 5-4, 5-4 maybe.
Yeah, they're 5-4.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're
That's all
5-3 going last week, so they got a winning record. I don't know if you can necessarily have a trap game against a division rival with a winning record at home, but maybe they overlook them. Maybe they're overlooking them ahead to the Bills game. I'd like to think of a veteran team that's not the case, but doesn't mean that it wouldn't be. Who you got your eye on? Who do we think has a big game against the Broncos, Bo?
Oh man, alluding to what Nick was saying, right? You get some of our guys in your face. It's easy for Bo Nix to make some bad decisions. I'd look for our secondaries. Some are like a Trent McDuffie, maybe a Justin Reed, maybe come in and snag a couple. I was so hopeful at that very first play against the Bucs. Baker threw it up and just, I don't know how he didn't come down with it, but yeah, man, I was so hopeful. So I would like to see them convert something like that, man. I'm looking for a couple turnovers on the defensive side. I like when Nick said our offense usually doesn't match up well against their defense. I was thinking, well, yeah, but our defense usually matches up pretty well. Let's look for some defensive scores here, maybe, and we'll break that 30 mark, maybe with some help with the D this week.
Yeah, Nick, who you got your eye on? Who do you think has a big game against the Broncos?
Well, I kind of alluded to it. I'm going to pick Chris Jones, man. I think that he's going to get this rookie quarterback rattled. He's going to be in that backfield making life hell and get a couple sacks and really just kind of hurry up that passing offense.
You
defensive guys, all right.
Yeah.
You don't think they double and triple team Chris Jones, like that's kind of in the blueprint here lately?
Yeah, I mean they definitely will, but I still think he's gonna. Still think he's gonna eat, man. I think he's gonna get past it. I mean, he still got past it against the Bucs, right? And that's with Baker getting rid of the ball super fast. So,
oh man, he would have had a sack, right? He was getting held. He had to reach back and sack him, and they called the hold, so it negated his sack there.
Yeah, they're definitely. I mean, he's still winning even in double coverage situations. So I'm not gonna change my pick.
Who you got, Scotty?
I'm going D-Hop. I'm gonna piggyback on Nick here from last week. I think you see that guy have another big game. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. He came in the first game. He came in the first game with the Chiefs there, had a couple catches against the Raiders, made some nice plays, had a nice catch on third down. He picked up the offense very quickly, came out and, like I said, looked like prime DeAndre Hopkins last week. Another week to get on the same page, get some more chemistry going there with Patrick. I just feel like those two guys are very complimentary to one another. I feel like D-Hop's come in and is playing with a guy that he's admired from afar for a while. Now he's got his opportunity and he wants to maximize that. and a guy like Patrick Mahomes that has just been dying to get somebody on the team that
Right.
can catch the ball outside of Travis Kelce for the last couple of seasons. Rashee Rice, he kind of solved his drop issues the second half of last year, and it looked really good at the beginning of this year. But outside of him, the rest of the wide receiving core has struggled when it comes to the drops department, right? So I just feel like those two guys are in let's go mode, and they're on the same page.
Did we all see D-Hop's post on X, him posting Tom Brady and Randy Moss together? Right?
I was just looking that up.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but Moss never won one with Tom. But hey, this is how you change history right here.
They were undefeated season away. The helmet catch, David Tyree.
Yeah,
they were close.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, they were really close. They were really close. Look, man, I still think it's still too early. I don't want to start talking undefeated season this year. They win this next game and beat the Bills. I might be talking about it, but
let's get past that Bills game before we entertain that with the
right. Well, I think you guys were bringing it up, talking about.
I've been talking about it for like 3 weeks. So.
Right. I was going to say, I think Nick was talking about it.
Nick brought it up week 1. Didn't you say
ago.
undefeated?
Yeah.
Or didn't one of you guys say undefeated week 1?
It was a few. No, I don't remember. I definitely did not say undefeated. Look, I thought this was good. I thought this was going to be a year where the Chiefs maybe had 4 losses when you looked at just kind of how tough that first stretch was there. The first 6 or 8 games, you had the Bengals and the Ravens right out the chute. You had a road game against the 49ers, a division game in there against the Chargers. So, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to start talking undefeated, but there might be some haters out there that might just like die. If the Chiefs go undefeated and get the 3-peat,
their head will literally explode.
Dude, the referee talk has reached a height I can't even believe. I didn't even think it was possible. I thought it was as bad as it could get. And then Jawan Taylor goes a split second early on the play before the game-winning touchdown, and somehow that's how they won. Like that 5 yards is going to make a difference.
Yeah, man, it distracted everybody so much they didn't cover Travis Kelce on the play.
Right. I mean, you didn't watch him just march the ball down the field 70 yards in like 3 or 4 minutes. And I think they got in third down one time before they got to the goal line at 3rd and goal. They were on a mission in that overtime, and you saw it. Everybody knew what was happening when the coin toss.
Dude, typical Joe Buck and Troy Aikman highlighting some stupid shit like that, but not like the egregious holding calls on Chris Jones or Wharton or Karlaftis when they're getting to Baker, right? None of those get highlighted, but no.
The phantom hold that gave Tampa Bay the first down on the 3rd down sack by Karlaftis.
Right.
Conveniently leave all that out. So,
and conveniently leave out the fact that, like, oh yeah, that guy, he's in on the count too. He knows when the ball is gonna go. He's probably gonna go right as the ball goes, man. Like, I don't know, it's hilarious.
Yeah, save that same energy for Lane Johnson. I never hear that for that guy, and that's a Lane Johnson special there in Philadelphia.
I love the memes of the refs that they put, like, instead of black and white stripes, they have the Chiefs red stripes going on.
You're like,
hey, that looks pretty good.
We should. I wonder if you could buy that. You could wear that to the games.
I'm sure you probably could. You can buy anything. You can buy anything you want.
Amazon it
with Amazon now and the internet. But one man show talking about Chiefs starters sitting for half the games or more if and when we get the first round bye. I don't think that thing's wrapped up yet. But you win a couple more games and you're sitting at 10-0 with wins over the Bills and the Ravens.
If we sweep our, like, the first half of the divisional games, have all of the tiebreakers locked up, we can talk about that then.
Chiefs are sitting pretty right now at 8-0, and they can be sitting real pretty at 10-0 in a couple weeks. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
What would you guys think if they were like 15-0 and they sat their starters?
I'd be okay with it. I'd be way okay with that.
The 3-peat is what's important, and that's history, right? There's been teams that had an undefeated season. Nobody's ever got the 3-peat. So I think that trumps the undefeated season. If you feel that gives you a chance to get some rest and have it be more likely that you get that 3-peat, talked about it, man. That's football immortality, and this will be the greatest dynasty in NFL history if the Chiefs go out there and get this repeat this year. So,
be amazing to witness, man.
Mahomes is on record saying that 20-0 is the only record that he cares about.
Well, I don't know. I mean, is repeat a record technically? I mean, I think that's an accomplishment more than a record, right? I mean,
it would be a record. Yeah. Nobody else would have it.
Yeah, I guess I can see that being a record. I mean, I guess I think of a record as like passing yards in a game or something that is
be consecutive Super Bowl wins. That'd be, I think, worthy
3 consecutive. Yeah. I mean, it would be unprecedented. It's never happened. And
I mean, if I could only have one, I
would
go for the three-peat, right?
For sure, you pick the three-peat over the undefeated season. Absolutely. I guess you could argue that undefeated season would be a three-peat because you'd be talking about the 19-0, right?
Right.
20-0. I'm sorry, 20-0. If the Chiefs get the bye week, they're in the driver's seat. The Kansas City Chiefs are, and they got a chance to really, really, really increase their odds of that first-round bye. Come playoff time with a win against the Broncos. Score prediction time. Let's throw some scores there in the chat. What do you think the final score is against Denver? I'll go first this week. I don't think I ever really go first. I think one of you two usually gets on the board first. So I think the Denver Broncos defense gets exposed a little bit. How many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes going up against the number 1 ranked or a top 5 or top 3 ranked defense, and the dude racks up 40-plus points and has a 380-yard with 4 touchdown performance? Would not be the first time it's happened. With the addition of D-Hop opening things up and giving Patrick that comfort option out there and the trust he has in that, Kareem Hunt is still on a roll here. Travis Kelce looking like he's getting going. I think the Broncos have a long day at Arrowhead. I'm going Chiefs 33, Denver Broncos 21.
Ooh,
Nick?
All right. Let's go.
I'm gonna look. If you look at the Broncos' scores against quality defenses, they're not doing much, right? So I'm gonna pick Chiefs 24. I'm gonna say Broncos 12. They're gonna double them up.
24-12. Interesting pick there with the 12. Bo, what do you got?
Just field goals, man.
D-Hop with 2 touchdowns and 88 yards in his first game at Arrowhead. His second game with the Chiefs is only going to get better. His third game, I imagine he's going to tear it up, like Scott's saying. And then I feel like our defense, they're going to be, they know what they did. They're ready to go back out there and feed. So I'm going to see 30-17 Chiefs with some defensive scores in there.
30-17. Bo likes the defense to get on the board. I'll sign up for that right now. Looking like Brenda's got 24-10 with Wentz finishing the game.
I'll take that.
Might need a little bit bigger lead to have Wentz in the end of the game than 14 points, but maybe not.
You know, one of the best ish talking points I've ever heard a quarterback say was Peyton Manning, right? He was talking about his record, 55 touchdowns in a season, right? Whatever that record is. He's like, it would have been a lot more, but I had to sit, 5-6 games at the fourth quarter because they didn't want to have me get hurt or anything. I was like, dang, yeah, that's actually probably true too.
That was that was the original. Is he washed or is he not washed? Peyton Manning, when he left the Colts, there was the speculation that he was done. That's why the Colts had got rid of him, and he had the weird neck injury that no one really knew how they were going to treat or he would recover from, and he goes to Denver and sets a record for touchdown passes.
Yeah, his wife was having HGH delivered to the house for her.
Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever. I mean, that's guess technically against the rules, but hey, man, you're using science, right? That's the funny thing. It's something like HGH, like everybody's fine with all these guys using creatine and going to the gym, right, and all these supplements, and you see the GNCs and all these places making a killing off of that, but all the football players better not be using that. So Big Doug 33-17, he's pretty close to me there. Laney 32-14. Chat's feeling pretty confident about this game. I don't, to say that the Broncos haven't played a team as good as the Chiefs this year is kind of being Captain Obvious, because the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, and I think by a fairly wide margin at this point. So with
Who did they
addition
play?
of
They played
D-Hop
like the Steelers.
and they
and the
lost to
Ravens?
them. Yeah, I mean they
Played the Chargers, I guess.
Yeah, Chargers.
Right. They beat the Jets in like a what was it, like a
10-9.
3-2 game or something like that.
But like the
They
Jets still
beat
hadn't
the
found their
Panthers.
rhythm
Apologies, our man JT, if he's watching. But they beat the Panthers,
yet.
which is nothing to write home about necessarily. I think their record is schedule driven
They
more
play the
than it
Bucs
is
too. I
talent
feel like
driven.
they played the Bucs.
They could have played Tampa Bay already by now.
I don't know. I guess I can look it up.
Peyton, man, you're getting under Laney's skin here, bringing up Peyton Manning. So you want to get under Laney's skin, you bring up Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, and you're going to see the hater come out.
She is not the target audience for the Manning cast.
No, definitely. Although I believe she likes Eli Manning quite a bit. I think it's Peyton.
Yeah, the Broncos beat the Bucs 26-7.
Yeah, there you go. It'll shut down that defense.
How should this be the 29th game the Chiefs have not allowed 28 points or less or more?
Right. I feel like that's almost like a no hitter or something at this point. Like you don't bring it up or talk about it necessarily, so you don't want to jinx it. Yeah, look, the Chiefs easily could have beaten the Buccaneers in this game, something along the lines of that 30-10, right? 30-30.
Yeah, man.
If Xavier Worthy didn't step out of bounds on that opening drive and cost the team a touchdown, if Travis Kelce, we mentioned earlier, doesn't have a fumble, there's 3 points there.
Maybe 7 if he connects with J Watt, right?
Right, yeah. There was a little bit of an overthrow or an underrun by J Watt. I don't know how you want to look at that. Looked to me like Justin Watson slowed down quite a bit when he turned to look for the ball.
Yeah, a couple of easy things like penalties extending their drives he could easily fix, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you could have been looking easily at a 26 or 30-7 or 30-10 score, similar to the Broncos beating the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are one of those teams. They are like your prototypical 500 football team in the NFL, right? Can score points, got a above average quarterback, but not an elite quarterback. Crappy defense. That's got a 9-8, 8-9 record written all over that. They like to win that game at home, maybe a little more comfortably than they did, but again, they're a couple of plays away from having a lot easier win at Arrowhead. Any other NFL news? Anything going on we didn't get to? You guys want to talk about? Anything in the chat anybody wants to get to before we get out of here?
Is Saquon Barkley like actually human, or is that dude like some kind of football robot?
Are they going to put the reverse hurdle in Madden next year, you think?
That play was insane.
Please, God.
It's going to have to click in both sticks and hit both triggers.
I'd be inclined to say that he's not human, except for he's suffered a lot of injuries in his career for a robot. So, but no, when healthy, that guy is. I mean, I think he's the best running back in the NFL.
Maybe he's just like a Microsoft robot, you know?
Right. When you look at that guy's
breaks a lot
of speed and athleticism and agility that guy brings to the table, man, he is a beast out there.
Dude, when we were talking about us acquiring like Hunt and D-Hop and the rest of the league going like, how is this team doing this? Like, I felt like that when the Eagles acquired him. I was just like, how did they get him from the Giants? Like, really? Yeah. That's amazing. He's a game changer for sure.
Right. Yeah, I think there's some maybe hard feelings there. Saquon was unhappy with the direction the team had gone. They're kind of a doormat perennial here. Although I think they did win a playoff game a couple years ago, right? Didn't they beat the Vikings? And a wild card round 2 or 3 years ago. But outside of that team has not really done anything. And the Giants, look, Saquon Barkley's been hurt the majority of his career. I mean, I don't know how many times he's played a full season, maybe once or twice max.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So
back to my fantasy, I was like, he hasn't been the
you know, playing for the Giants seems to get a lot of people hurt.
Yeah, it does.
Strange.
Oh man, I just don't think I can do it today.
Hamstring. Oh,
right.
Man.
Yeah.
A lot of hamstring injuries up there in New York.
It really does. I saw the Bills. Amari Cooper got injured.
No, really?
Tough break for that team. You go out and you trade for a guy like that midseason to help you out, and he gets injured.
Do you know what happened? What kind of injury is it?
A wrist or a hand injury of some sort. I didn't hear like how severe, what kind of injury, but I know it was there in the hand, wrist, forearm.
Man, when we play on Mondays, I just kind of don't pay attention on Sundays at all, right? Like it's on in the background, but I'm not paying attention to it the same way. Like, oh, the Chiefs game's on next or something.
Right. I'm not very superstitious when it comes to a lot of things, but I am superstitious about watching my guys play. They're on my fantasy team because they always suck when I watch them. So I try to avoid, especially games. Monday Night Football is the best, though. You get the whole weekend, right? And then sucks staying up late, especially when you go to the game and it goes to overtime on Monday night and you have to park in Lot O at Arrowhead.
Oh, man, that's a walk and a half.
Ugh.
We were in the back of O, man. We were in like O plus. I want to say a lot. I don't even think it was still technically considered Lot O at that point. Anybody that's been to Arrowhead knows about Lot O. If you ever had to park out there, it's a hike to the stadium, but it was fun. It was a great game. I had a blast out there. Close overtime.
Man, games are fun. I gotta make it out there for a game, man. I went to like 6 last year and I haven't been to one yet. I gotta go.
Man. Yeah.
Jonesing.
Yeah.
Get back there. You're not far away. How long are you in Oklahoma for? Until when? You in there through December?
Yeah. I guess I could just drive up there, huh?
There's a Raiders game the Friday after Thanksgiving. That might not be a bad one to go to.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. I might just have to do that.
To work something out like that. So, I don't know. If anybody else got anything we want to talk about, we can jump out of here. Really appreciate the support everybody gives the show. Again, we had our first live stream video that got 1,000 views. That was exciting. Got the old.
Thank you, everybody.
Put the smile on the face when I checked the channel there the other day. We really are humbled and thankful and grateful for all of y'all, all of our friends here. We look forward to doing this show every week. It's just made being a fan of this team just that much better these last several years. Which somehow really it's amazing. Found a way to make it more enjoyable being in the dynasty.
Right.
Win the Super
I didn't
Bowl.
know I could go deeper until we started doing this, and it's like, wow, there is a deeper end of this pool.
Yeah, but it's been a lot of fun. Keep spreading the word. We're wanting to give this Isaiah Pacheco jersey away when we get to 1,000 subs on YouTube. But I want to say we're in the mid 600s. So,
dude, we're super close to giving away this Justin Watson jersey. Yeah. I think we're like 30 followers away from hitting 5K on X. So all you guys on X, hit like right now. Go like us on X. You have a 1 in 5,000 shot at winning a signed Justin Watson jersey.
Yeah, those are good odds. 1 in 1,000, 1 in 5,000. Those are good odds. That's better than the lottery. Ain't no doubt about that. So, really appreciate everybody. Thanks for the kind words there, Big Doug. Happy you got to chill with Bo and watch the game. That's always a good time. So, Chiefs are 8-0. They are chugging along, man, on the quest for this three-peat. It couldn't start and couldn't be going any better than it's going right now. The quest continues. Round 1 against the division rival Denver Broncos at Arrowhead. Noon game. Like I said, those are getting rare here in Chiefs Kingdom, noon home games at Arrowhead. So until next week, let's go Chiefs.
All right, let's go Chiefs.
I got to find this. I wasn't ready. I knew I was ready for it, but not ready.
That's all right.
Let's go Chiefs.